Welcome to day 7 of the 25 days Nigerian tax reform series. And I'm your host, like always, Tamna Nini Tekena. I don't know about you, but I missed writing on this board. I missed it. I went out of this location, so it was hard to access this. But I'm back. All right, let's jump right into the video. I feel like standing here today. I've done there for 6 days. Let me do this for the 7th day. So today's topic is upstream petroleum operators. Have you ever heard of the upstream sector? Upstream sector is also known as E&P, that's exploration and production. These are oil and gas companies. Note, it's all about the oil and gas. These are oil and gas companies that are into exploring. Exploring is when you're looking for where the oil is. You're looking for it, and after you find it, after it's refined, you produce it, right? That is exploration and production, which other people, the short form of it, the acronym is E&P. There are some companies that we know. These are companies that have made a name for themselves. We all know Shell, Chevron, and some other companies alike. We know NNPC, which have been privatized right now, and some other companies alike. Now, when these companies go into E&P, they've explored, they've produced, they've made money, they get the money, and from that money, they pay what is called a royalty to whom? The government. Now, there was a former PIA, that is the Petroleum Industry Act, and then there is a new PIA. The new PIA came into existence, I think, in 2023. Under the former PIA for royalty, the first thing is royalties were paid in kind. In kind, example, they were paid in crude. So companies would gather barrels of oil and give to the government to say, oh, this is our royalty. Secondly, the payment, the crude, when they were making the payments, it was paid to the NUPRC, that is the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission. And thirdly, the royalty payment, it was made quarterly, the returns for it, just like you're filing your return that this is the amount of crude I gave, this is the amount that was received by the government, etc. It was filed quarterly. But now the NTA, the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025, has changed that. Number one, royalties are now paid 100% in cash. So it doesn't mean that you have to carry big Ghana must go, like we used to see in the movies back then. No, it means that even though you're paying in check, you're paying, I don't know, you're paying through bank transfer, whatever form you're paying it in, there is no part that you're going to say, okay, 10% of it you would substitute with crude. No. Everything that you're meant to pay, the percentage you're meant to pay for your royalty will be paid with money only, no longer crude. That's the first change. The second one is the royalties are now paid to the Nigerian Revenue Service, which was formerly known as the Federal Inland Revenue Service. That's what they were operating as, not the NUPRC. That's not the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, no more. And the third, the royalties are now filed monthly. So note that. Like always, 3 fixes. The first is to review your royalty clause. You have to review your royalty clause because now at this point you know that you're not paying crude anymore. You're now paying cash. You're paying cash. So you have to review your royalty clause, change it. Change it to state that you are paying. Now, while you're reviewing your royalty clause, it's because most times some of these contracts, they are between 2 or more companies and they go into joint operating contract or a contract production sharing agreement. Now, when you go into that production sharing agreement, it's not one person that is going to benefit when the E&P comes into full effect. So you have to state that in the clause. You have to change it in the clause. So all the companies or businesses involved will now know that whatever we are getting from this, we are from our exploration and production, we are no longer paying the government crude for what we are getting. We are now paying them cash. So everybody would know what they are chipping in. This person would now know that the percentage of crude I'm chipping in is no longer in crude, it's now in cash. So that's why it is important you review royalty clause, more so when it is between 2 or more businesses or companies. And when you're reviewing, you're looking at how much, to who, and when to file. So you're looking at this. First of all, 100%. Who are you filing to? You're now changing it from the NUPRC to the NRC, that's the Nigerian Revenue Service. And now, before you were filing quarterly, you now need to note that it's no longer quarterly. You're now filing it monthly. Secondly, you have to recalculate. Yes, you have to recalculate because 100% is now in cash. The oil sector, the oil and gas sector, it is not stable. Nothing is actually stable when it comes to production. Today, the price of crude can go high. Tomorrow, it can go low. So imagine you're now paying crude. You're now paying it in cash for that particular production you have. You're paying it in cash. It might be that if you were paying it in crude, it would have been lesser for you based on the current economic situation. But if you pay it in cash, it is higher for you. So you need to note that there will be some losses, and at some point too, there will be some gains, but you must recalculate this. Then the third one is to amend contracts. You're amending these contracts, you're amending them. And going forward, you should also note that this is what applies to this sector. So when do you have to do it? You're doing it now because this act has already come into effect. So there's no, I'm going to do it later, I'm going to do it in the second quarter of the year. You're doing it now. Okay? That's all for day 7. See you on day 8. Bye.